Greetings, I am Tom Earl, and this is my year of adventure. We know you could be anywhere, so the fact that you are here today sharing your greatest gifts, your time and energy means the world to me. I hope you know that in this moment you are valued, you are loved, and you are appreciated just as you are. As you can see, I am not alone. I have an amazing guest. She goes by the name of Nina Concepcion. How's it going, Nina?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today. I know that you are super busy. You're doing great work in the world. And so really, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course. So I know your mission is to support ambitious female coaches in building their coaching business from scratch to six figures. Can you give us a little bit of background? Can you expand upon anything that you'd like to share for folks who are just getting to learn about your awesome mission and meeting you for the first time?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. So I found that there are people in the world who naturally are very good at holding space. Maybe you're somebody who people come to and you just found that people are always opening up to you. I found that from a young age, during my first interaction with someone, they'll just start crying. And they'll say to me, "Oh, this doesn't happen to me normally. I don't normally start crying with someone who I've just met." And I found that there are just some people in the world who have a natural gift at holding space and listening to people and making people feel cared and heard and that they matter. When I realized that there was an industry to support people and actually teaching them what you've learned in your life, now it's also business, but what you've learned in your life, my mind was just blown. The fact that you could support people with what you know and who you are and the experiences that you've had, I had the realization that my life is worth so much more than what I realized, and everything that I had experienced up until this point was not for nothing, but I can actually help people with what I've gone through. I realized, oh my goodness, I can make a difference by sharing with other people my experiences, what I've learned in my life, who I've learned, a lot about what I've learned with my values and who I am to my core. And I can support people in having a better life and then start to create abundance and wealth and a better life for their family and the world by just sharing who they are, I just think is so amazing. And one of the things that really absolutely lights me up is to see people, just people in general, but I work really well with women. But when people step up to a level that they know in their heart they were always here to do, I feel like for us who know that we have a big mission on our hearts, we've known it for a really, really, really long time. And so when you're on the pursuit of this mission and it's just not coming into fruition and it's not becoming a reality, you get a bit frustrated and you feel alone, especially when you feel like you're the black sheep of the family. But then when you find your tribe and then you realize that you can have the support in order to actually realize that dream and that vision that you have for yourself and the world, and it starts to come true, the belief that shifts within a person and the love that they're able to exude, I think is just so beautiful. And so to see women in particular really step into their confidence and release these cultural conditionings of who they thought they should be or what they think they should be doing, or putting everyone else before themselves all the time and sacrificing themselves and what they want and what they're here to do. When I see them really step up and serve and put themselves first and start to see their vision become a reality, it really, really, really lights me up. So I absolutely love empowering other people to do what they're already here to do. I just help them do it faster.
I love that. Oh, that's so inspiring. So there's so many things that you shared that I want to unpack. So I think the first one that we're going to dive into is, the word coach has kind of a watered down meaning to it, where there's people who are like, I'm a coach and no experience, no knowledge. You know what I mean? So why don't you break down a little bit for you? When you say coach, what's the standard that you're talking about?
It's interesting that you asked that. You know that I'm working with the amazing Scott Oldford at the moment, and I got really clear from something that he said literally probably a week or two ago, the difference between a coach and a mentor. I had actually thought that they were the same thing. But Scott said, a coach is somebody who can teach something but doesn't necessarily have the experience. A mentor is somebody who has lived it. He or she has lived it, they've breathed it, they've done it, they've gone through it. So they can support people in actually paving that path through experience as well as the knowledge. I've interchanged those two meanings. I didn't realize that there was a difference between the two. So my perception of what I believed a coach was up until knowing that actual definition was being able to not only have the education and the knowledge to be able to support people through what they're going through, but also having the experience as well. Something that I say to a lot of people, because there's so many coaches out there now, right? Like the coaching industry is literally starting to boom. I think Forbes says that they predict that it will be $1 billion a day by 2025, which is 3 times the amount that it currently is. So it's going to get even bigger. But something that I always say to people when they say, how do I know what sort of coach I want to work with? How do I know who to hire? There's a couple of things that I say to them. I say, one, you need to figure out what it is you actually even want, because there's so many different coaches and mentors out there. When you're clear on what your top priority is, go find somebody who can support you in exactly that priority. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting your time. If it's not a priority, you invest all this money and time, and then you're not able to commit to what you're actually there to do with your mentor or coach. The second thing is find someone who you're in alignment with and you feel has a high level of integrity, because it's your time, it's your energy, it's your money. It's super important that we find those mentors and those coaches who are aligned with us. And thirdly, find a mentor or coach who has done it, because integrity is one of my highest values. Something that my boss in real estate used to say to me, I was in real estate for 2 years before I became a coach, and I've been a coach now for 8 years. He said to me, we're not allowed to teach any of the newer staff until we reach a certain level of results. So what he said was, I don't want the blind leading the blind. And so often, especially as, the coaching industry, some people are like, oh yeah, I know heaps of stuff and I'm going to teach it. But really they haven't actually lived it. They don't actually know the actual steps that's required. Something that Scott says is, until you've done it 2-3 times, I don't think you have a right to, I don't think he says, I might be paraphrasing, but he says he doesn't consider himself a mentor in something until he's done it 2-3 times, because he's done it. He knows that he can duplicate it. It's not just a conceptual idea. And so that's something that I tell people when they're looking for a coach and they're looking for a mentor. Those are the 3 key things I tell them to look out for.
I love that. The other thing you brought up was exactly what I wanted to touch base upon. So you've talked about values now twice. So how do people become self-aware of their values, the importance of values? How can we intentionally choose our values? Talk to me a little bit about values.
Yeah. So I love Dr. John Demartini. He is, for those of you who don't know who he is, I highly recommend you look him up. He is the author of The Values Factor and The Breakthrough Experience. He's absolutely phenomenal. And I had the privilege of interviewing him for my book, The Naked You, which I was talking to you about a little bit earlier. And when I read that book, when was it? Oh, years ago now. I think I first started my personal development journey. So it was close to 8 years ago. What got really clear to me from reading that book is there are things that we unconsciously already value. When we look at our surroundings, when we look at our actions, when we look at what we've already created and manifested in our life, it is a reflection of our current values to our core. And there's so much cultural conditioning that we think we should be doing this or we should be doing that, or I'm going to want this or I'm going to want that car and I'm going to want that house because that's what it means to be successful. That's what it means to have a good life, when really we already have what we value. And so tying into values in the sense of what we want to create in our life, Demartini really supported me in shifting a lot of my values around so that it was a more empowering and conscious relationship that I had. So one of the things that I really wanted to cultivate in my life was wealth. Not just financial, but emotional, spiritual. I wanted to have more love in my life. I wanted to have more fulfillment in my life. And one of the things that he said to me is, if wealth isn't in your top 2 values, you're not going to be wealthy. And when I looked at my life, I looked at my surroundings, and I started to cultivate that awareness by asking myself really particular questions over and over and over again. And also by having the courage to really look at the reality of my life and how everything had panned out to that point, I realized that I needed to really move some things around. I needed to reprioritize my values in order to manifest what I wanted to manifest. I see values as two different elements. So I'm going to talk about the other one now. When I talk about values, when it comes to my business, I think it's really, really important to get clear on the sort of person who you want to be and be in alignment with that. Because I've, been in a whole lot of debt, and I've also had a lot of money. And I found that regardless of what my external circumstances look like, if I'm being true to myself and if I'm honoring who I know I want to be, regardless of how painful it is, regardless of what it means financially, regardless of the external circumstance, as long as I'm doing what feels right for me and I'm proud of the person who I'm being, then I'm happy with my life, regardless of what's happening externally, regardless of how much money I make, regardless of how many clients I have, regardless of how big my following is. And so when I feel like one of the biggest things a lot of businesses are missing is really that heart, is really missing, what's actually really important to you. And that's what people resonate with. Scott talks a lot about intimacy. And I feel a lot of businesses just lack integrity. It's a massive thing I learned in real estate. And so integrity is so high on my values because of what I've learned and because of the type of person who I am and I choose to be. I'm constantly cultivating, under promising and over delivering. If I'm going to tell someone I'm going to do something, I need to make sure that I actually take the action in doing that, and giving myself even a buffer of time to make sure that if I say to someone I'm going to get something done, I'm going to tell them I'll get it done a little bit later. So then I give myself that buffer of time. But I think that's what living authentically is all about, is just being true to your own values, because there's always going to be someone who has an opinion on what you're doing. But I think it's Martini that says this: would you rather have the whole world against your soul, or would you rather be the one who goes against your own soul? Really, you're the one who knows whether you're living a life that's true for you or not.
I love that. Living your life for yourself or for other people. So you had talked about those. So when you become self-aware, let's say how you said wealth. So I want wealth to be my top 2 values. That's an intention. How do you then actually get a value to become your top 2 values? What does that actually look like, making that happen?
I've done so much work around this. One of my best friends actually asked me about this, I think yesterday or the day before. So firstly, if you guys want to move some values around, highly recommend The Values Factor by Martini. He has the breakthrough experience. I don't know what's happening, if that's available right now because of everything happening in the world. I'm not sure if he's doing it virtually or online. But what I said to my best friend was, one, it's a decision, right? I got really, really, really intentional. Success also doesn't happen overnight, and that's with everything. So I was intentionally asking myself, how can I make wealth a priority? What do I need to shift? What do I need to learn? What else do I need to be implementing? I was asking myself these sorts of questions and journaling on these every day for probably 12 to 18 months before I really started seeing the result of having more wealth in my life. I also find hypnosis incredibly powerful. So most nights, 99% of the time, I listen to hypnosis when I go to sleep, and it's normally the wealth one. I'm currently also getting one-on-one hypnosis done, which isn't just around wealth. Now I'm looking at cultivating other areas of my life as well. But I found that, to answer your question in a nutshell, intention, making the decision, being consistent, just you need to keep moving forward, right? You don't build muscle going to the gym once. It's something that's going to take time. You need to be consistent with it. If you really value it, you're going to put in the time and the effort and the energy. And then going to the subconscious mind, but also the conscious mind. So I literally have affirmations everywhere. My partner didn't know anything about personal development or spirituality before meeting me. And we've been together almost 4 to 5 years. I don't even know how long I've been with him anymore. And I literally had affirmations all over the house. So in the bathroom, it's my bookmarks, it's in the kitchen, it's on the front door, it's in our room, it's literally everywhere. And so I'm constantly rewiring my my disempowering beliefs that I had around money, around wealth, around what it would mean, and really unpacking that and investing in myself, not just emotionally and energetically and mentally, but also financially. So getting support. The Michelle, I'm not sure if you guys know who Michelle Masters is, but she's absolutely phenomenal. She's an expert at really shifting your money mindset in a very subconscious way through timeline therapy and NLP. And so that's also been amazing working with her as well.
Okay, so we covered what I think is one of the most important parts of business is mindset. If you're cool with it, let's get tactical. So you help folks go from scratch to six figures.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I'm at scratch, I'm ambitious, I'm a coach. Get me to that six figures. What would you say I should do?
When it comes to mindset?
No,
everything.
We can keep talking about mindset, but if you want to get tactical, like post this on social media, start a blog, like what's your approach? How do I, if I'm listening right now and I'm, okay, mindset, I'm in. But tell me some like tactical things I can do to get that money rolling.
Yeah. So my signature program, one of my signature programs, Conscious Coaching 101, is the program that a lot of coaches / entrepreneurs do when they want to start getting their first paying clients. So the promise of the program is you get paying clients within 90 days, but it normally happens anywhere from 2 days to 3 weeks. So the main thing that I support people in that program just to start the ball rolling, first and foremost, I've built my entire brand organically on social media with Facebook. I'm not that great at using Instagram at the moment. So that's what I teach. I don't teach Instagram. If somebody wants to know Instagram, then I'm not the person, again, because I don't have experience in that. I don't feel in my integrity in teaching Instagram. So I teach people how to build their business organically to six figures through Facebook and through their personal pages. And so there's a few main things that really support people in getting those quick wins. One of the things I love about what I do is I'm really good at helping people generate cash and call in those clients through my conscious sales method. And a big part of that is positioning, is packaging, and is showing up and just making offers. So when someone says to me, I don't have any clients, and I ask them, how many offers are you making? I'm not making any offers. Okay, how many people are you talking to a day? Oh, 2. That's just not enough. That's the reason why you're not making any sales. It also depends on how they're positioned. So the very, very, very first thing that I do when I connect with someone and I look at supporting them in generating those first few clients, even those, I had a client who was stuck at the 6-figure mark. So 6K a month. That was her PB, and that was a year ago. But she ranged between 3 to 6K a month. And she's been a coach now for 5 years, and she started working with me, and she's 5 weeks into working with me, and she's just closed over 50 grand in sales in the last 4 weeks. Yeah. So the method that I use with the people starting is actually the same method that I use with the people who already have experience, but we just go through that method again and then refine it and refine it and refine it. But the first thing I do is I look at their offers. Like, the people try and reinvent the wheel all the time. I think as entrepreneurs, we're like, I want to be creative. I want to do things my way. I want to be unique. I want to stand out. But sometimes we go too far the other way and we try and invent all these things that don't actually know. We don't actually know if it works or not. We're just taking a stab in the dark. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. So often they just don't know what they don't know. One, they're doing way too many things. And that was a big part of my journey as well, just doing way too many things and creating packages that don't actually work. So really simplifying a method and the packages that work. So for example, the best and easiest way to sell coaching, especially if you have no clients, no experience, is just start getting one-on-one clients. Don't try and sell a program. Don't try and sell a course. Don't try and do a subscription. Like, get one-on-one clients. One, it's the easiest to sell. It's going to be the highest value, and it's the easiest to sell. Like, there's already people around you who are probably willing to pay for your level of experience and expertise of what you currently have. And so packaging is the first thing that I look at. What are their packages? What is it priced at? Some of them are priced way too low. Some of them are priced way too high. Some of them don't even have a price. So look at their packaging and I look at their positioning. So a lot of people just aren't showing up and telling people what it is that they do. And so one of my other mentors, Kate Chippy-Gray, says the sooner someone can contextualize how you can support them, the sooner they will pay you. So if somebody cannot tell what you do within 3 seconds of looking at your social media page or your website or wherever it is that they are, it makes it too difficult for them to piece together how you can actually support them. And so I support them in being able to position themselves really, really quickly in a very concise, simple way. And then from there, start looking at how to actually do call to actions. I give them my framework for a sales call. So people who don't have any experience in sales whatsoever have a 1 in 4 conversion when working with me. So every 4 calls they have, at least one of them converts. So for example, if someone wants to get 3 clients in the first month of working with me, they just book in 12 calls. Using my framework, they'll get 3 clients.
And I know I'm putting you on the spot. Do you have any prompts for folks who are catching on to, yes, people aren't able to figure out what I do in 3 seconds? Do you have any prompts that you give folks for them to start reflecting upon what, like a sentence or two for what they can tell people?
I think part of the thing that's tricky about this, and I've worked with some amazing women, it doesn't mean that you're not amazing at what you do just because you can't figure out a way to articulate your message in 1 sentence. Sometimes we just need another set of eyes. Sometimes we just need another perspective. Sometimes we just need someone to help look at what we're doing at our business to help give us a different perspective. And I found that it's one of my gifts. Like, I'm really good at just simplifying things for people and articulating things to people. But if you're having trouble articulating what it is that you're doing and contextualizing in people's minds what it is that you do for them in a very short and concise way, ask for support, reach out to people, start having more conversations, hire a coach, hire a mentor. One of the biggest downfalls I see with so many entrepreneurs, and it was my biggest downfall, and I think it's honestly one of the biggest downfalls for most people, is we first and foremost feel like we need to do it ourselves. Like when we first decide we want to be a coach or a mentor or an entrepreneur, we're like, yeah, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do it all myself. I'm going to do everything for free. I'm going to bootstrap. I'm going to watch all of these YouTube videos. I'm going to watch all of their free trainings. And you try and do it all yourself, and you try and save money by not paying for anything. And then very quickly, when you get to a place where you're broke, or you make money and then you go broke, and then you make money and then you go broke, you realize, okay, I think I've tried doing this myself and it's just not working. So the sooner that, people starting out can get to a point where they just hire a mentor, hire a coach, they don't need to go through all of those years of stress and overwhelm and being broke and not knowing what it is that they're doing. But I also get that we're stubborn and that we need to experience it ourselves. But yeah, definitely. Like, I would say, speak to other people, speak to your friends, connect with other entrepreneurs, ask them for their advice, and really be open to hearing what people have to say. I think that a lot of people are so scared of, people go one or two ways. People either overgive advice when it's unsolicited, or people are scared to give advice to people because they don't want to come across a certain way. I want to encourage people to be the student again. Ask people around you, what do you see when you look at my brand? What do you see when you look at my page? What is it that you know or understand about what it is that I do? And you can even ask people who don't even know you, which is probably going to be the best form of feedback. But I think definitely having that external point of view is really, really helpful.
So what I'm hearing, and I want to co-sign, is get it out of the intellectual and put it to the marketplace, whether that's your friends, people in line, and see how people react, because you got to get out of your own head. So whether it's hiring a coach or just start telling anybody who will listen, this is what I do. Does it make sense? In your own words, explain back to me. I love that, Nina. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've taken your advice and I've stopped having 5,000 different offers. I've focused on one. I've gotten lots of different feedback. Slowly but surely, I fine-tuned my offer. So now people in 3 seconds can figure out what I'm going to do.
Amazing.
Okay. I have your sales script so that when I get calls, I get a 1 in 4 conversion. But now what? I'm on Facebook. I'm sitting here. How do I actually get calls booked now? How do I get people on the phone with me?
Yeah. So first and foremost, call to actions. People just don't put any call to actions. I don't think that you necessarily need to be putting call to actions all the time, but if you're never putting call to actions, then how are people going to know what to do? It seems like a no-brainer, but something I learned in real estate is people literally need to be told what to do. Even when I was selling property, they're like, oh, what happens next? I'm like, okay, you signed the contract. They're like, okay, then what happens next? I'm like, well, there's a cooling off period. They're like, then what happens next? So the more that you can show people the process and make it really simple for them and tell them what it is that they need to do if they want to work with you, if they want to know more, the simpler it is for them. People just don't know what to do. Like, we need to tell our leads, our customers, what the next process is, because we're the service provider, we're the leader in that interaction. So it's our responsibility to lead them, and also getting out and actually being proactive and having conversations. There needs to be a level of hustle and, as Scott says, willful consciousness when it comes to building your business. Like, yes, it gets to a point where you can start having more time freedom and you can start making your own hours and you can start having being able to have a bit more flexibility with your schedule. But there needs to be that level of, I'm willing to do what most people aren't willing to do in order to have what most people will never have. Like, there needs to be that level of hustle. And so many people just are not willing to get out there. So many people just aren't willing to have more conversations. So many people just aren't willing to initiate conversations with people. You need to put yourself out there, especially when you're doing things organically and even doing things paid. I don't see anyone who's done paid advertising really, really, really well, really, really, really quickly, who haven't first built up their brand organically. So the best way for everybody to actually learn as well what it is that they do, to answer that other question, is actually work with clients. Because very, very quickly, you'll get clear on, oh my gosh, I actually help them with this. And your clients give you feedback on what it is you're actually doing for them. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I do. Thank you so much for telling me that. Thank you for articulating that to me. Does that answer your question?
It answered a lot of questions that I didn't ask, but I was going to ask. So we are still valued in a value-added situation. Let me see if I can do my job better. So what I'm looking for is, okay, organic Facebook is not necessarily something that everybody's raving about, especially if you're on a page, because organic reach is so bad. So let me get specific. So are you wanting people to post on their page and their profile? Are you wanting them to post content? Are you wanting them to go into Facebook groups, add value? Are you wanting them to DM people and from the DMs get them on a phone call? Like, what should I do on Facebook? Why Facebook? All of that.
Personal page. So even business, like, there's not really a massive point having in my opinion, having a business Facebook page unless you're running ads. And even then, you need to build up your audience organically first. So it's nice to have a business page, but it actually does nothing. Like Kate, for example, one of my other mentors, that's how I know Scott, because Kate was working with Scott. She reached 7 figures in her business purely organically off her personal page. Like, you literally do not need a business page unless you're running ads. So I would say first and foremost, your personal page. Facebook, because there's, I think, 2.9 billion active users on Facebook every single day. So when you go back to traditional marketing, do you want to have your shop front on the main road, or do you want to have it on the side street that no one knows about? Right? There is so much traffic on Facebook. Everybody is on Facebook. And with 2.9 billion active users on Facebook, and every other social media and every other platform is less, if you could spend, for example, 10 hours of your time on Facebook and generate 20 clients, or generate, 10 hours of your time on Instagram and get 3 clients, why would you not focus on where it's the best use of your time? And so Facebook ads as well is incredibly low and incredibly cheap. Kerwin Ray, who is another expert in the personal development space, says that entrepreneurs and small businesses, if you want to build a personal brand, we have 2 to 3 years. He said this last year. We have 2 to 3 years to build our brand on social media before the massive organizations and corporations start paying ads into Facebook ads. And then the the market's going to get saturated. This is his prediction. The market's going to get saturated with all of these other larger companies realizing how amazing Facebook ads is. And so it gives us as, personal brands and entrepreneurs and coaches an opportunity to really build our brand and really utilize that attention while it's free, while it can make it work for us, while it's incredibly cheap for us to start investing into ads and reaching a larger audience. So first and foremost, your personal page. Like, people already know you. People already like you. People already trust you. This is the three things that you need when someone buys from you. They know you, they like you, they trust you. There are already people that know you, like you, and trust you. So they're the people who are most likely to work with you right now. They're going to be the first few clients that you get are the people who already know you, especially if you're starting out. So personal page, first and foremost. And the next, networking, speaking with people, like not just online, but even in person. Like I've connected with people, I've met people. You never know where people are going to come from. You never know when someone's going to want your help. You never know when someone's going to say, oh, I actually know someone who I think like would really want to connect with you. You never know. So just be really open and willing. But when it comes to Facebook, yes, after, posting a lot on your personal page, it's really important to network. It's really important to build your audience and to connect with more people and find the people who you're going to resonate with and are going to resonate with you. Because if you have something special in your heart that you have to offer, if you know that you can make the world a better place, I feel that it is your responsibility and our responsibility to go out there and find those people who are silently suffering. And so by us staying in our insecurities and us saying, oh no, I don't want to do it, I don't want to show up, or oh, like, what will people think of me? What about the people who are suffering? Like, it's not actually about us. And I think that's what I really admire about entrepreneurs who are building their businesses and who are committed to what they're here to do. I think you get to a point where you're like, all entrepreneurs financially, they have an element of going up and down financially. And I think we get to a point where we realize it's just not about us. If it was about us, we would have given up. Like, it's not that easy. Like, it's really challenging sometimes being an entrepreneur. But you know in your heart that you're here to do something that you're here to do regardless of how much you're getting paid. But the more you get paid, then the more you can serve, the more you can show up, the more people you can reach. But you realize it's not actually about you. So does that answer that question?
Yeah, no, that was very, very helpful. That was awesome. I love that. So do you have any suggestions for like how often folks should post, or, you seem to be using DMs a lot. So any advice on, how to use DMs, anything like that would be cool too.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, it's really important to remember that there's something called, your highest paying activities, or there's something that's called, I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of it right now. Brendan Burchard calls it something else. But there are certain tasks that you can be doing that are more income producing activities, or IPAs, income producing activities compared to other activities you can be doing. So first and foremost, when it comes to, for example, a typical funnel, right? And I don't mean like an online funnel. I mean just a traditional customer journey sales funnel. So people get to know you, they hop on a call with you, and then from the call, they decide whether or not they want to work with you, and then they end up buying from you. So there's the 3 stages to a funnel. So if you can be booking in calls and connecting with your clients, like that's first and foremost the biggest thing that you need to be doing, because that's what generates the most money. And then it's generating leads. Like if you're not already taking care of your existing clients, if you're not hopping on calls with people when people are wanting to book in a call with you and you're not booking them in, the last thing you need to be doing is generating more leads. Like you need to be focusing on these people first and foremost. So I go through phases where Jim Rohn calls it sowing and reaping. So there are times that I'm like, deliver. And then I really focus on the people who I'm working with. I'm onboarding them, I'm supporting them. And then when I feel okay, I feel they're solid, then I start serving more. So I think it's super important to be as consistent as possible when it comes to posting. So I recommend at least once a day. However, we're also human. So we're not perfect. So also be kind to yourself. My client who just closed over 50 grand in sales this month, she's like, Nina, like I haven't posted in a week. I'm like, love, you've just onboarded like 7 or 8 new clients. Like they're your priority. Like just focus on them for now. She's about to hire a VA, like your VA can help you with your social media. Honestly, for now, just focus on the people who you've just gotten on board. Focus on serving them. They're your priority.
I love that. It's something I resonate with as well. So for me, last month, I was like, let's focus team on all the folks that we just onboarded, making sure everybody gets great experience. Because otherwise you feel like, oh, you treated me really, really good until I purchased. And then, oh, what's going on here? So I really resonate with that.
Yeah. I also think it's integrity. If you really care about these people, it's not just about the sale. It's not just about, oh, I have your money. Now I don't really care and I'm not going to serve you. Like, I deeply care about my clients and I deeply care about their life and their results and their business. And so it's important for me that I have that energy for them and I express that to them, which means sometimes taking it away from posting all the time, because I need to, especially if I'm onboarding my max amount of clients that I can take on board, or I can get my VA to do some of my posting, my priority is them for that time.
Well said. Well said. So I know, folks should go out, purchase the actual script for your sales call. So you don't have to give us all the secrets, but give us some insight into, folks who are doing sales calls, loving the idea of, 1 in 4 conversion. What are some mistakes you see? What are some best practices you'd like to encourage people to implement? Anything you can share around sales calls?
I'm a massive fan of, I do believe that when people pay, they pay attention. At the same time, I am where I am because of the amazing Brendan Burchard. So when I saw Brendan speak 8 years ago, I literally had an awakening experience where I thought, oh my gosh, I'm here to be a coach, I'm here to be a speaker, I'm here to be an author. And I absolutely love him. And one of the things that he says is, I deliver so much free value. And people say, oh my gosh, if he's willing to give all this stuff away for free, imagine what it's like to work with him. So I'm happy to share a lot with your audience as well, which is also going to be really valuable. But there's also so much more juicy value as well for those that do decide to end up working with me, because obviously there's only so much we can go in 1 hour. The biggest mistakes that I see is that a lot of people are scared going into a sales call. Like, I get that it's scary. I get that there's fear that comes up, but you need to can I swear? Am I allowed to swear on this podcast? You need to literally leave your shit at the door. Like, something I say to my clients is, when you're like going onto a call with a client, a sales call, when you're delivering with your clients, you're literally not thinking about your life. You're not thinking about you. You're not thinking about what's going on with your partner. You're not thinking about your kids. You're here to serve and you're here to be present with them and to give them your time and your energy. And so, one of my newest clients, she had her first, she had a call with her first client. And she was like, I feel really bad about it. I don't know what I could have done better. And I had my session with her yesterday. And she said, oh my gosh, Nina, like, you've just made me realize I brought my shit to the call. Like, she was frazzled and she was doing a whole bunch of things. And she had to like scoff down some food before the call. And then she sat down for the call. And then she was talking about how frazzled she was. It's your job as a service provider to hold space for that person. They're coming into your container. So if you're not holding that space of, I've got you, I can support you regardless of everything that's going on in my life, I'm here for you, then they're not going to feel safe. They're not going to unconsciously feel like you can support them. And so that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't realize that they're doing when they hop on a sales call. Like, just tap into your, you can call it source, universe, God, like whatever language you use, tap into that knowingness within you that you're here to serve and that you're a vehicle for that information and love to come through you, and just focus on that person on the call. Like, literally I said to one of my clients, get a box, literally visualize putting all your stuff into that box, leaving it outside the room. You can pick it up later if you want to. Like, it's not going anywhere. You can deal with it after the call. The other thing is, it's so fascinating to me that if people do not make a decision within, I found, 24 hours, they're not going to make a decision. They just don't. I think I've had maybe one person actually make a decision after 24 hours. If people cannot make a decision, one, it sets up the entire relationship of them not being able to make a decision, and you feel like you're dragging them across the line. You're like, why aren't you doing the work? Why aren't you doing this? How come you're not doing this? Like, you just need to take action. And I don't work very well with people who don't take action. I'm so like, this is what you need to do. This is my framework. You literally need to follow it. So if someone is not able to make a decision within 24 hours whether or not to work with you, they're not going to decide to work with you. It's going to be a no. They need to be a yes. And so I give people a deadline at the very latest of 24 hours to get back to me, because if they're a no, you want to let them go. I wish you all the best. No worries at all. I don't want to have energetic ties with people being like, oh, maybe, oh, next week, oh, no, I'll get back to you in a few more days. I'll get back to you next week. Like, I do not have the energy for that. Also, I found that the people who make the fastest decisions to invest in themselves and who commit are the ones who get the fastest results. It's no accident that the ones who pay in full and the ones who pay a deposit or pay in full on the call are the ones who get the fastest results. It's because they don't procrastinate. It's because they just do the thing. They don't let themselves get in their own head. They feel the fear, but they do it anyway. And so when you guys are on a sales call, do not give people more than 24 hours to give you a decision. It's not just about, oh, I don't want to feel like I'm pressuring them. It's actually not beneficial for them sitting on the fence, because of how else are they doing that in other areas of their life? They just need to move forward. And I say to some people who I feel like are on the fence, I say to them, look, it actually doesn't matter whether or not we end up working together. Like it doesn't bother me. Like this is your life. This is your decision. But what I want you to do is just make a decision. Like either it's a yes or either it's no. Like I'm an unattachment. Unattachment is so important, but that takes practice as well, because we care so much. We want people to make a change in their life. But I say to them, I just want you to make a decision, because you not making a decision is a decision, and that's playing out in other areas of your life more than likely. So regardless of what it is, can you give me a decision in the next 24 hours? And they'll say yes. I haven't had anyone say no. And if they say no, then it's a no. Like I'm not going to work with someone who can't commit to giving me a decision within 24 hours. And also value your time. If someone cannot give you a decision, why do you want to work with them? We're not here to beg people to work with us. It is an honor. It is a privilege. It is the co-creation. It is not, you're not begging them. They're not doing you a favor, right? You're here to support them, and they're here to up level with you and you to up level with them as well. There's one more thing I want to share because it's so powerful. What I realized is that when we charge for what we do and when we pay for an investment within ourselves, both parties level up. Both. It is a co-creation. So when I started charging for what I do, there's no room to be like, oh, I'm just going to reschedule because I don't feel good today, or I feel a bit lazy, or I feel tired, so I'm just not going to show up. When you're getting paid to do something, in your integrity, you have to show up. You do not have a choice. You have to show up. And when you pay for something, you pay attention. So you're like, I have to show up. I have to. I don't even have a choice. I just need to show up. And so the exchange of money is actually just an indication and a result and a consequence of the commitment. So I don't want you guys to feel bad that you're asking people to invest in themselves. They're not investing in you. They're investing in themselves through you.
And then last question, what does conscious sales mean to you?
To me, conscious sales is a co-creation and a synergistic relationship between two or more people that is beneficial for both parties and the rest of the world.
Yes. Nina in the building. So Nina, for folks who are on fire, they're like, yes, I'm in. Where can they reach out to you? Where can they follow you? Where can they get access to more of your content? How can they take a deeper dive into your world?
Yes, thank you. So as you guys know, I've put my brand completely on social media. So it's facebook.com/Nina the Naked Coach. My name is Nina Concepcion. I've literally just changed my business name to the Institute of Conscious Sales. So Scott said to me, Nina, like it's not a priority for you to get your website up in the next like at least 4, 5, 6 months. Like, and he didn't say that. He said, unless when you're making 3 consecutive months of 50K, then like we'll do the website. But till now, like till then, it's not a priority. I'm like, okay, listening to my mentor. So if you guys literally go there in the next few months, it's not going to be up. But the easiest way to connect with me is through Facebook. And so if you guys want to connect with me, and if you guys found me on this, just reach out to me. Let me know. I saw you. I heard you on through Tom. And I'm happy to share with you guys. I can give you some of my frameworks. I've heaps of free training. I've literally got hours of free training on conscious sales on my Facebook group as well, and the links on my personal page.
Wonderful. And so folks who are on the go, tomerl.com/Nina, tomerl.com/NINA is where you will find the link to her Facebook page. So you can get over there, send a DM. And what's great is you'll get a voice memo back, not just some VA saying, replying on Nina's behalf. So you get the actual personal touch.
Oh, I love that.
So Nina, I want to thank you so much. This has been such an absolute pleasure. I want to thank you for taking the leap of faith of being on this podcast, for bringing the energy, the tactics, the tools, the mindset, the energy, everything you shared so graciously with all of us. I want to share my gratitude with you. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. It's been so fun. It's been such a pleasure.
I'm so happy to hear that. So here's our closing ritual. Can you share with those listening, what is your invitation? What would you like to invite them to do, to be, to consider, to think about, to evolve into, to become? What's your invitation?
I feel intuitively that there is something in the hearts of those people listening and watching right now, something that you've thought about, something that you want to do, something that you want to give, a way that you want to share, maybe a gift that you have. And you've probably been thinking about it for a long time, like years. Oh, maybe I should start doing this. Maybe I should start doing that. Maybe I should start getting into coaching. I want you to just take the first step. Just take the first step. Don't overthink it. Don't try and have everything perfect. Literally be willing to fall forward. What is the first step that you need to do to actually move that dream forward? Is it connecting with a coach? Is it asking your friend how they've done it? Is it booking to go to an online event at the moment? Is it having a conversation? Is it buying your domain name? Like whatever it is, one step, and then you can build the momentum from there.
I love that. And once y'all take that first step, send me and Nina each a DM so we can applaud and celebrate with you for sure.
Woo-hoo.
So thank you once again, Nina. I appreciate you. And y'all reach out to Nina and share your love with her.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes. And to all of those listening, as always, we're wishing you peace and blessings. Thank you.
One more thing. I'd love to continue the conversation. Feel free to join me at tomearl.com/join. Subscribe below, or let's connect on social media. Tom Earl Artist. Thanks again for watching.